Hello, Jill. Welcome. How's everyone's first week of school, if you have children going?
Mine starts on Monday, so.
My two daughters started high school back today in person. So
How'd it go?
I don't know. We'll see. I think my daughter just texted me saying she's getting out early. What's going on?
Oh.
All right, I think we had 14 folks signed up for this, so which is pretty good for Friday. All right. While we're waiting for folks, we have a co-host today. That's Isabel Tovar, and she is our NEG Prayer Liaison and Assistant Curator of Archaeology at History Colorado. So she's going to talk a little bit about her experiences and some advice about tribal consultation. So before we get into discussions on that part. Hello.
Hey, Jen. Hey, Christy.
Hey, Christy.
Hey.
Karen.
Hi, Todd.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Glad you can join us.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, it's about 1 o'clock. So I want to give 1 more minute just because it's Friday and I know people might be doing, it's the lunch hour. So I'll give them the benefit of a minute here. Hey, Katie.
Hi.
All right, it's 1:01, so we may have a few folks joining us. So there's time for them to continue to join. But first of all, I'd like to thank you all for being here on a Friday. I know I've typically scheduled these usually on a Thursday, so I don't know if Friday works better for folks. Let me know. You know, Thursdays or Fridays work better. I do want to introduce also, for those of you who don't know, Isabel Tovar. She is our NAGPRA liaison, as well as our assistant curator of archaeology at History Colorado. And when we get into the discussion at the second half of the confab, we'll be talking about tribal consultation, and she's going to provide some advice and some tips on that before we get into that breakout session. So welcome. If you have not been to one of these confabs before, I wanted to just begin first of all with a land acknowledgement. This was largely written by Isabel, but I think it's really important that institutions acknowledge and try to decolonize our status, I think, and acknowledge the original inhabitants of Colorado. So in the spirit of healing and education, we acknowledge the 48 contemporary tribes with historic ties to the state of Colorado. These tribes are our partners. We consult with them when we plan exhibits, collect, preserve, and interpret artifacts, do archaeological work, and create educational programs. We recognize these indigenous peoples as the original inhabitants of this land. Okay, so today we have a couple of subjects that many of you who participated in the last confab expressed high interest in having a discussion on, and overwhelmingly it was about diversity issues. And I know that here at History Colorado we've had a lot of discussions about those types of things. And so for the first part of our confab, before we actually break out into sessions, what I thought I would do is try to just get a sense of how everyone is doing with this, or how you have been dealing with it. And so I've got a poll for you all, and I'm going to launch that now. So the question is, has your institution reflected on diversity issues in the past few weeks since the George Floyd's deaths? So yes, no, not sure. I'll let you go ahead and I'll answer that. I think we've got almost everyone.
Sorry, I don't think it's letting me vote because I'm a host.
Okay. I'm going to end the polling. Yes, someone asked, Jennifer asked, I see you're recording. For what purpose? Thanks. The only reason I am recording is just so that I can keep my notes. That's the only reason. It's not shared with anyone. So anyway, I wanted to, that's a great question to ask, because in a moment I want to talk, before we get into our breakout sessions, some rules. So here we go. These are the results here. So many of you have expressed that you have been talking within your own institutions, maybe doing some self-auditing about diversity issues. And diversity in terms of maybe both staffing, but also within exhibits that you have. Is it a complete and broad sense of history that we're representing? And so it's good to hear that there is a lot of discussion about that. So 75% of you said that you have addressed this. So I think that's really good. I'm also now going to, in the chat here, share with you a link to our note taker file. So back to it here. All right, you should be able to access this. And what I'd like you to do before we get into our breakout sessions, and I have a couple of questions to ask you in these breakout sessions, is that this is a very informal conversation. many of us come from different backgrounds and different worldviews and different experiences. So what I ask is that everybody here kind of have a deep respect for everybody and all of their thoughts that come forward out of this. The main point of the confab is that one of the main benefits of when we did our curation forums was kind of learning from each other and experts at this. So I think we can all kind of learn from each other, all of our experiences, and share resources, share ideas. And I think collaboratively it can build sort of a resiliency to what we're doing. So with the first question I'd like to try having you discuss, it's what solutions have you proposed to deal with your organization's diversity inadequacies? So that is our first question. So and it's written there. So I'm going to go ahead and send you out to breakout rooms and see if we can get you having a good discussion going. So here we go. So this is sort of like being zapped into outer space and being transported. So here we go. And I will probably try joining you and moving in and just seeing how the discussion's going, but please feel free to continue the discussion while I'm seeing how things going. All right, here you go.
Museum people.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah. Go along. Hi, Todd. Hey, Todd.
Hey, Todd. I knew you were trying to connect. Sorry, apologies.
No worries. I'm glad you're in this group here, and Isabel is really the person who helped put together our land acknowledgement. So,
well, it wasn't just me, which I will acknowledge that when we get back in the group. But it was just one. It wasn't just me.
Gotcha. I don't know if Todd had mentioned there was some interest. The city was interested in doing something in the mayor and city council, and that was one of the questions that I had asked. We're getting many inquiries from the Golden community, kind of engaging the museum more and more. So
yeah. So we can definitely talk. We can talk after.
Yeah,
Mark,
which is a different topic, of course. Yes.
Yes.
please try to. I'm going to just sort of see how the conversations are going, but I'm just floating in and out. So if you have questions you need to ask me, feel free, but carry on.
Okay. Well, we were just getting to, I was just getting to know Mark, so
Excellent. Excellent.
we hadn't started on our task yet of what solutions have been floated at our institutions for addressing inclusion.
Yes. I'll start if you want. I'm a big advocate for kind of reaching out and trying to engage directly in the community. For us, we're always working, since I'm a smaller city museum, we are always trying to use our mouthpieces through the city communications department and trying to, I don't know, on the grassroots level, to connect with individuals who want to participate and who are actively involved. And that engagement level is all across the board, of course. You've got kind of hyperactive citizens who really want to see us doing things, and then there's the people who disagree or don't see why. And that's nothing new for you guys either, but at least from our approach, that's been something we do a lot, or I try to, and it's with a mixed bag, of course.
Do you see a difference though in the people who are engaging? Because I wonder, because that often comes up, right? Is that we have, say, a really intensely dedicated volunteer pool, but they represent only a certain segment of the population, right? And so then there's that question, sure, how to engage in other ways, or how to reach different people.
Yes, no, absolutely. It was kind of like or the squeaky wheel thing, or whoever's most vocal, and trying not to take sides and trying to have an even-handed approach. And honestly, right now, we are probably reacting and responding more to the raised awareness in our community on all these issues. We've been doing some of it, and we have just honestly started having some more discussions within our small staff, but I'll tell you too, we're a little more kind of siloed out. I think we have 8 full-time staff operate the museum, but we all do our own thing. I'm responsible for most like our research and exhibits and collections, so I get a brunt of that, but it tends to fall with me and a couple part-time staff to help me, as opposed to our education department does more like for, kids programming and stuff. So we're trying to bring that together and unify more and be a resource for our community though. So I think that's a starting place, at least when these groups reach out to the city, and then our city management distributes those inquiries back to the museum, and we try to close that circle. But
Guys are doing good. I'm gonna go see how other folks are doing.
right on. I mean, what?
Put in to try to participate in those. So the university itself has created some opportunities for hiring, but yeah, the majority of our museum staff and faculty are not persons of color. And so I think you're right, hiring is a little bit harder along those lines. And I would say, I've been saying this for 10 years, I don't think our exhibits are up to par. That's just not where the emphasis of our director is right now. So we're working with Mesa Verde National Park to redesign their archaeological museum, and that whole process is shaped around a collaborative model that the park wants to try. So, so that's kind of where we're doing it more, but I don't think it's in this kind of the broader idea of diversity. It's still kind of working with the groups that we've been engaging with for a long time, and I think we could do better.
Hey, Todd, none of us can edit the Google Doc.
Oh no, that's not good. Thank you for letting me know.
Sure.
Let me make sure you guys can.
So at MSU Denver, our semester just started last week, this past Monday. So there have been a lot of conversations over the summer generally, like lots of communications from the administration. The staff senate has talked a lot about, like, every staff senate meeting starts with kind of like an anti-racism statement and all this stuff. And so I know that basically everyone at the university is very engaged in what's going on and wanting to move forward. Within our department specifically, we haven't had a department meeting. Like, we'll have our first one on Monday, and I suspect this will be a part of it, a part of our conversation. But as of now, I don't have a lot specifically to say about what we've been doing, you know, at the department level or the university level. As far as, like, we're a fairly diverse campus as it is, but as anywhere, you know, the diversity is at the lower levels, meaning like student level, right? And then as you kind of go up the ranks, you get less and less diversity. And I think we're well aware of that and probably trying to work on that as a university. But I don't have anything very concrete that's happened yet. It's just been a lot of conversation so far of people saying, this is bad, we need to do better.
Hey, Jill, try getting into the Confab and see if you can type now. Sorry.
That's
Todd,
fine.
can I just ask a clarification question? So it did not say it was recording our small group session, and now it is.
Oh, you know, that's because I entered the room.
Okay.
But generally, I don't have any of these things recorded. So feel free, you know, and I destroy these things after I get the notes done. So.
Sorry, I'm an IRB person. Like, that's what we do in our field, and I don't love being recorded unless I know ahead of time.